Hello everyone, welcome to the P1 program. This lecture is called P105.2. In this lecture, we are going to look at mean value theorem and an example on how to do the one-dimensional problems, right? I'll do an example. So before that example, I'm going to recap what we have done all this time. If you have a particle moving from some point to another point, and you can represent that motion in terms of displacement versus time graph, right? So the curve would look like something like that, and what you can now generate is the velocity time graph by just differentiating this function, right? You can find out the function balancing the motion of that particle, the amount of displacement it has over time, and that equation, which is you can call x equals some equation, right? Some f of x. So that kind of equation can be differentiated, and you get with respect to t, and you get the velocity, which is the average velocity. And again you can differentiate the velocity, like you get a curve for velocity time graph like this, and you can again differentiate the velocity, and you will get something like dv by dt, which is, can write it down like dx square by dt square, or simply write down in a notation form, which is x double dot. So velocity is x single dot, which is dx by dt, and acceleration, which is x double dot, right? This is called acceleration. So that's the easiest part that's the easiest way of representing what we have learned so far. So acceleration would be another curve. Here the velocity is a straight line, which we imagine that. So acceleration would be a constant. So that's how we can plot acceleration, velocity, and the position curves. So that so far that's what we have discussed. Okay, so all that we have discussed is up until now. Now I'm going to introduce something called the mean value theorem. The mean value theorem is in itself significant. It's a the foundation of integration and differentiation. So let me introduce that concept. What is a mean value theorem? So basically, if you have a curve representing the position versus time motion of a particle, let this be the curve, and you find out the velocity of this particle by differentiating the equation of motion, and you get a velocity what equation, right? A equation of velocity by differentiating, and that equation of velocity, right, will be, okay, that is an average. The velocity can be represented as delta x by delta t, right? So which means it's a time average of the maximum value of x and the minimum value of x, the maximum and minimum. So t will be t final and t0, or t initial, and x will be x0 and x final. So the difference between that, this v is equal to x final minus x initial divided by t final minus t initial, right? So that's the velocity for you guys. Now we have introduced the equations of motion. So x will be, I'll write it down here. So x will be x0 plus vt plus half at square. So right, so v is the velocity, x0 is the initial starting point, and a is the acceleration, where t is the time. So that's the equation that we have. Now we can represent that equation like in here as say x f minus x initial will be equal to x0 is just 0. Let's assume that the starting point is 0. A particle is starting from a point which is the origin, and it's moving like that. So x0 is 0. So what remains is v0, which is the v initial starting velocity, times t final minus t initial plus half a t final square minus t initial square, right? So that's what remains. Now you can replace the t final square and t initial square. You can replace this by, say, t a square minus b square is a plus b into a minus b, right? So it's t final plus t initial times t final minus t initial, right? Now if you divide that with t final minus t initial, right, t final minus t initial, what you get is v0 plus half a t final plus t initial, right? So that's what you get. Now if you, this is the average velocity, v average. So you understand that v average will be equal to some v0, right, plus half a t average, right? So you can cancel out v0 from both sides of the equation, and you can cancel out the sorry about that. V is equal to u plus at, right? So u plus at, sorry about that mistake. So it's v0 plus at, right? So that's what you get. So this is t average. So we can cancel out v0 from both sides, and a will cancel out also. So what you get is t average is equal to t final plus t initial by 2. That means the average value of time, or the, if you take a plot like that, okay, if you take the plot of velocity, okay, if you take the plot of position versus time graph, and this is the curve, then the average value of t value, average t value will be t final t initial divided by 2. So it's t final plus t initial divided by 2. So that's a straightforward, which is equal to t average. So that's the point, which is some point around here in the middle of that, where the average value or mean value stands. Okay, so if you look at this equation, you'll find that if you look at this equation closely, you'll find that there is something off, right? So if you have a plot like this, the average, what the velocity, average velocity in the middle, okay, it should be in the middle, doesn't apply, right? So the value of t final and t initial and the mid term, or the middle term, which is t average, is not reasonable. There is a difference in these two things, right? The main difference is that our equation that we have took had an acceleration which is not time dependent, right? The acceleration is not time dependent because we took the equation x equal to x0 plus vt plus half at square. When you take the velocity, which is v equal to dx by dt, you get v plus, or v0 plus at, or v0 plus at, and when you find out the acceleration, you get a. So acceleration is a constant value, right? So for that equation, it will be the median or middle. The mean value will be in the middle, where t average will be the value where t final plus t initial by 2. So that's the average value. It will have this kind of equation where acceleration is a constant, So if acceleration is changing, right, we will discuss that case in the next lecture. When acceleration is changing, that means the average, the median or the mean value won't be in the middle, it will be in that different place. Now what is the use of this mean value theorem? This is the fundamental aspect of a mean value theorem. This is the mathematical derivation of the mean value theorem. Now where can you use it? That's the most important part. What is the theoretical use of mean value theorem? If you have a mean value theorem, what is the use of it? So I'll explain that to you right now. Now if you have a plot like this, the position and displacement, a displacement versus time graph, and you take the differential of that equation where x divided the dx by dt, and you get an average velocity, right? So average velocity, if you want an example, you can take x equal to half at square, and you get v is equal to at, and acceleration is equal to a. Let it be. So velocity is starting from 0. So this point is starting from 0. Velocity is starting from the origin, and the velocity has a slope of a. Velocity has a slope of a, whatever a is. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. So velocity start from the origin, right? You understand that. Now how can you find the average value from the picture itself? Okay, is there a way? That's where you can introduce the mean value theorem, where you can say that if you have the plot and the displacement at the position versus time graph, and you find out the velocity time graph, so that you found out the velocity versus time graph, and you found out the differential of position versus time, differential of position equation, and you found out the velocity, and you got a tangent line, right? You can move around this line, right? All you have to do is just change the value of v is equal to at. You have to do is add some constants to it, right? If you add some constant, then this value will shift based upon that constant. So this will move around, okay, parallelly, right? Parallel to that line, it will move around. So what you can achieve from this is that the point where the slope of the position versus time is touched by the velocity time graph, right? Some point, this point, okay, this point where the slope of the v average, the slope of v average is same as that of that point t1 or t average. This will be the mean value, right? This will be the average value. So you can, using the plot itself, you can find out the average value. So that's the benefit of mean value theorem, and it's a foundation stone of basic differentiation and integration, the theoretical aspects of integration and differentiation. And it's a useful tool when you are looking at a plot. When you're looking at a plot, you have nothing but the plot, and what you can do is just take the differential of this equation and then start moving around, and you will find the mean value, where the tangent of the plot will be the same as the average velocity. This is the average velocity plot, which will be moving around and touching a point where that point will have which is having the same slope as that of the average velocity will be the minimum, right? Will be the average value, will be the v average. So that's the average value, and you can find it out numerically. So that's the advantage of mean value theorem. It is a least said theorem that most people don't discuss about this theorem, but it's a because we have something better than mean value theorem when we deal with actual problems. So that's about mean value theorem. And now I'm shifting my focus to a problem. So we are going to do a problem of one-dimensional motion before doing any more thing. Okay, if you have a car, okay, this problem is like this. If you have a car which is moving starting from rest, okay, which is starting from rest at x0, and it is moving in a direction, in a straight line direction, and at some point it will travel to a distance of 100 meter with some acceleration. So it goes to 100 meters with some acceleration. We don't know the acceleration, okay, that's a thing. And after 100 meters, reaching 100 meters, it will reach a velocity of 20 meter per second. Okay, that's the velocity, and after that it will travel for another 10 seconds. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay, so if that's the case, this is the whole case. It travels from rest, zero velocity to 100 meters distance, and the velocity when it reaches 20 meters per second, it will go in a straight line and it will not change afterwards. So when it reaches 20 meter per second, it will be the same, it will remain the same for the rest of the journey, and it will travel for 10 more seconds. Okay, it will travel 10 more seconds after reaching 20 meter per second. So the question is that, and what do you need to find out is what is the velocity. What is the velocity? That's the first thing. What is the acceleration of this car, and what is the time taken for this whole travel, right? We have to plot the velocity versus time graph, the position versus time graph, the acceleration versus time graph. Now that's the question. Now what you can do is that you can pause this video and then do this problem yourself, right? After that you can come back and resume watching this video. So it's your chance. Now the solution, how can you do that? How can you do this problem? So if you look at this problem, you see that it is traveling with an acceleration which is unknown, and the velocity when it reaches 20 meter per second, it will remain the same. It won't go exceed 20 meters per second. So it's a maximum velocity is equal to V max is equal to 20 meter per second, and it will travel 10 seconds after going at 100 meters. After getting to 100 meters, it will then start moving at after for moving for 10 more seconds. Okay, so what will be the distance? Okay, if you can write down the distance equation for distance straightforward. It is x0 plus ut, which is the initial velocity, or we can call it v0t based upon your preferences, plus half at square, right? So that's the equation of motion. Now x0 is equal to 0. We start from rest. v0 is also 0 because we start without any velocity. We are starting from nothing. So it is x is only half at square, right? Now v is equal to velocity will be at, right? V is equal to v0 plus at. v0 is 0, so v will be equal to at. Now what we can do now is that we can find out. Now we can substitute at into this equation, into x first equation, and we can write down x equal to half vt, right? So we can write it like that. Now we can write down t is equal to 2x by v, right? So it's 2x by v. Now we can say that x equal to 100 meters. We know that the distance traveled in the first case, we are assuming for the first 100 meters there is acceleration, there is velocity change, velocity is changing, acceleration is changing. After 100 meters it will go at a steady rate of 20 meter per second for 10 seconds. So that distance will be, you can straightforward calculate that. That's the distance will be speed into time, or velocity into time. That's 20 meter times 10, that's 200 meters for you guys, right? That's the distance. So we know that distance. Now what we are interested in is in the first part where there is acceleration. So in that part the distance is 2 times distance is 100 meters divided by velocity is 20 meter per second. So that's going to take 10 seconds, right? So t1 will be 10 seconds. After t1 it will travel for another 10 seconds, right? We know that. So it will be t2, right? So t1 is 10 seconds and t2 is 10 seconds again. It was given. Now the total time taken will be 20 seconds then. Okay, we got that. It will be 20 seconds, and the total distance will be, first will be 100 meters and the second will be, we have found out 200 meters. So total distance will be x1 plus x2, which is equal to 100 plus 200, that's 300 meters, right? Okay, let it stay there for a while. Now the we have found out what t1 is. Now acceleration around t1, what happens to the acceleration around t1 is v by t, right? So v is 20 meter per second, right? And the time taken for that body to achieve that velocity is 10 seconds. So acceleration is 2 meter per second. Okay, so we have found out t1, acceleration, velocity which was given, and we know the total distance now. The total distance, and so v average will be total distance divided by total time. So total distance was 300 meters, right? 300 meters, and total time was 20 seconds. So total distance is 300 meters by what time is 20 seconds, which is around 15 meter per second. So that's the velocity, that's the average velocity of that particle. Now if you want to, the last thing that we need to do is just plot the graph, right? Plot the graph of position versus time graph. Now if you look closely, you will find that the x versus time. So in the first 10 seconds, the position is changing, right? So x is equal to, if you look back into the equation, you will find that x equal to half at square, right? Half at square. So it will be a function of some kind of a function of x square. So x equal to half at square. So it's a function of y value is changing in the terms power of x. Y is changing in terms of some constant times x square. So it will look something like this up to this value. It's changing fast in the power of x square. And after that, the distance. Now what happens to the afterwards? The distance is just x equal to speed into velocity times t, right? So velocity is 20 meter per second, and for 10 seconds that's 200 meters, and so it's a steady value, right? So it's a steady value with a slope 1. Okay, so for the first part, it will be moving in the terms of x square, the power of x square, and then it will be in steady state. So that's the position versus time graph. Now if you want to look at the velocity versus time graph, if you look at velocity versus time graph, in the first 10 seconds the velocity is changing, v is equal to 80, right? V is equal to 80. So it's changing 2 times 10, that's 20 meter per second. So it's changing with the first second it will be 2, second second it will be 4, third second it will be 2 times 3, which is 6. So it will turn like that, and in the 10th second it will be 20 meter per second. So that's the velocity change. So it's changing fast, and it's changing steadily with a slope of a, right? With the slope of a, it's changing. So it's a straight line like that, and after 10 seconds, reaching 10 seconds, the velocity is 20 meter per second. So it's a straight line. Okay, to the final 10 seconds it will be a straight line. In the initial 10 seconds it will be a line with the slope 1. Okay, now slope a, right? Now looking at the acceleration is the least varying thing. If you look at the initial 10 seconds, right, acceleration was 2 meter per second, right? So the acceleration in the initial 10 seconds was 2 meter per second. After that it became 0 because the car is restricted to move in 2 meter per second speed. So so the acceleration has become 0. So the acceleration will be like this and this. That's the acceleration versus time graph, and that's all the graph. This is a very basics and simple problem that you should be able to do. Okay, this is the one-dimensional problem that is easy for anyone to do. So with that, I'm going to close this part of the lecture. I know these things are going very slowly and very simple for most of the people, but I think the basics has to be there for all the people, right? So that's why I'm taking things slow, and then we will get to much complicated and much more important portions soon. Okay, thank you for watching. All the best for you guys.